guys doing? Surviving?
Doing well. This is, I want you to rank, though. Now we are on our third consecutive guest.
All right.
Billie Jean King.
Wow.
Cynthia Freeland, and yourself. Give us a ranking.
All right, well, I mean, listen, all respect to the GOAT. Billie Jean King's got to be number one on that list. I think that's an easy one there. Cynthia, listen, got the numbers dialed down. She's been crushing it for a long time in NFL Net. Infinitely smarter than me, and so I got to give her number 2. So I'll take myself at a comfortable third, and I feel like being on the podium here, it's one of the, what's the line? It's an honor just to be nominated.
Yes.
I'll take that.
Yeah. How often do you think people mean that?
Very, very infrequently.
Yeah.
But in this situation, I feel like he's being honest and humble.
Yeah, 100%. This one's easy, too, but, like, when it's like an award show like that, and, like, especially, God forbid you're one of those people, like, at NFL Honors last night that thinks, like, you're Lamar Jackson. You think you got a real shot to win this thing. Everyone's telling you you're going to win it. You're acting happy for Josh, but you got to be kind of pissed.
So the most unbelievable version of this was at the Academy Awards several years back. Sylvester Stallone was up for Best Supporting Actor for Creed. He thought they said his name, and he got up for a second and reached into his jacket pocket, and then had to sit back down, and I was like, bro. Like, I thought he was going to win, too, but, like, you got to make sure they say your name. I don't even remember.
Did it sound like Sylvester Stallone?
I don't think it did. No, it was like A. Aronson or something, yeah.
He was just so convinced it was going to be him that he had that foot up no matter what.
Okay, walk me through, if you have a strong opinion about this, the disconnect between, like, what some people in the sports media say versus the betting odds. Because the betting odds had it down as a stone-cold lock almost that Josh Allen was going to win the MVP.
Sure.
And then, but all the people in the sports media is like, feels like it's Lamar Jackson's to lose, feels like it's Lamar's to lose. And I understand the AP, first team, and all that stuff, but there was such a disconnect that we had, like, multiple conversations with people like, yesterday, Lamar's going to win. I was like, he's not going to win. And he didn't. What do you think leads to that disconnect?
Well, I think a lot of it is just from the media side, it's more people's opinion working their way into this than the people on the betting side dealing with legitimately, like, maybe what they're hearing about votes from polling and things like that. Because on the media sentiment side, I can understand. I was one of the people that thought Lamar Jackson should win MVP based on what we saw this year. And so I think a lot of times that seeps into the analysis of it where you present it as a certainty because you feel that way so strongly, even if it may not be representative of, you know, what the actual situation turns out to be, which, listen, was a close vote. It wasn't pulling for either of those guys was something that was going to steer you wrong. It was, like a difference of 20-some-odd votes?
Yeah, 27-23.
Yeah, so it wasn't a massive delta between the two, but it's still, I do think that opinion seeping in is a huge part of that.
So I've heard some people say voter fatigue. I disagree with that so much. Here's my contention. If the Ravens would have won the Super Bowl last year, Lamar Jackson wins MVP last night. I think he lost it because people are like, he's the only two-time MVP that's not even been in the Super Bowl, let alone won a Super Bowl. We can't put 3 times on him. And I think that's why some people voted Josh Allen instead.
Well, I mean, that is voter fatigue in its own right then. Like that is, you know, when you think about it, it's the Nikola Jokic factor, right? It is. We, at a certain point, when your level of individual accomplishment exceeds a certain level, and now all of a sudden you're scraping all-time territory with your age and accomplishment, we do prorate postseason success, right, wrong, or indifferent, for stars in the NBA and for quarterbacks in the NFL. Even if I don't think quarterback wins are a real thing, you have the most influence on the team, and so that's going to be tied to you. And at a certain point, you're allowed to expect it. When the Ravens been as good as they have been for as long as they have been, and he's driving the bus, subconsciously, I can understand that seeping in. Do I think that's how it should be if we're drawing this up perfectly?
No,
it's supposed to be a regular season award. It's supposed to be year to year, but we are human beings, and so I do believe there's some version of that, and there's also an acknowledgement for Josh, who is a deserving winner of this, is that team made the shift that we've seen the Kansas City Chiefs make at times, that, you know, depending on what happens with T. Higgins, Joe Burrow's going to have to make coming up, where they said, hey, you're enough to where we're going to have to let some of this this fade into the periphery. Stephon Diggs is probably going to go. Obviously wasn't in his prime anymore anyway. We're going to really build this around you, and you're going to be able to offset whatever other losses we have positionally. And Josh did that at an incredibly high level.
I think, did you post the Jokic, Embiid, thing over? Was that you this morning? Okay, there it was, Kevin.
Do you think that was somebody at ESPN who said, I think you should vote upon these specific guidelines about which race somebody is, and that's what skewed the race?
What?
Dude, you know that's what happened.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. I cannot claim to have any knowledge of that, but listen, we're in an era where certain conspiracy theories are always going to be able to take root, but I think this one was pretty cut and dry, man. Josh had a great season. Lamar had a great. The one question I was asking Dad this morning was, the only sport that I know that factors postseason success into their award in like North American sports is college lacrosse. Like, I'm a huge Notre Dame lacrosse fan.
Okay.
And the Tuaraton is their version of the Heisman in college lacrosse, and they hand it out after the NCAA tournament because their thought process is the best guys are probably going to make the tournament, and why wouldn't you factor that in? Every other sport, think about every year how often we had NBA MVPs that all of a sudden went and bleeped the bed in the first round of the playoffs.
Yes.
And we're
talking about
like,
Dirk?
Yeah, he's
what
talking
are you
about
doing?
Dirk.
What are you doing here? Look, we just lost Luka, and now you're going to do
Oh,
it.
yeah,
that's right. I was going to say, how are you guys doing, by the way?
Not
well,
great.
Not well
Not
at all.
great.
I think
That's why
Nico's
this is out
getting
here.
Nico's
smart. We should all drink more.
Allie LaForce last night for the Boston Celtic game had to say, hey, the team's coming home after a long road trip, and they're scared for their lives. That's how Dallas is taking it. Like, you destroyed a franchise.
And Nico's gotten death threats, which we all agree is like
Wrong.
Yeah.
wrong. But that just gives you some insight into how people are feeling.
Have called and canceled their season tickets.
I get it, man, and that's the part of this that's so baffling is Nico Harrison signed up to expedite his own clock as a GM. Like, you got the get-out-of-jail-free card. You got Luka Doncic on the roster. You can point to that as, hey, we've got this foundation of a franchise player to point to for the next decade as we make moves. Now when he said we can win now and later, but later's 3 to 4 years, like, dog, we have a different understanding of later.
Yeah.
Can Ashton Genty save the Cowboys?
Boy, that poor young man.
Yeah, I'm saying.
I tell you what, he was God's strongest. The Boise State roster around him, O-line was very good, quarterback, defense, all strong, but he carried the load on that broken tackle machine. I think Dallas's offensive line still needs some, especially depending on Zach. Like, if Zach's back and healthy and playing like prime Zach Martin to go along with some of the young guys that stepped up with them that are going to have another year under their belt and feel better about things, like, he could certainly help. Like, Ashton is the kind of running back that can make lines better because there's a difference. We're seeing right now in this day and age, the running back conversation is going to be real interesting this offseason about how people handle the success of Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry, because it's not just running backs are back and anyone can do this. It's like, no, the takeaway is environment matters.
Exactly.
And that you can have a Hall of Fame caliber talent like Saquon Barkley that's stuck in an adverse situation, and that rose is not going to bloom through concrete. But you go to a place like Philadelphia that has a bunch of hosses up front, and now all of a sudden it's a different story. So I still think you need your house in order, and I'm not sure Dallas's house is in order enough yet to fully maximize that. Like, I have to give them their due. They are usually good at finding and developing O-line talent. They've earned that respect throughout their history, but that is a group that's not right in the place where it would look like Philadelphia, Baltimore, Josh Jacobs in Green Bay even, I think, right away next year.
All right, so let's say I'm having you and your family over for the Super Bowl, and I'm making burgers.
Ooh.
What do I need to have at my house to make sure I make you the perfect burger?
I would say, cheese, bacon would be ideal.
Just like regular cheddar cheese?
Regular cheddar cheese, yeah. I mean, you can give me yellow stuff, white stuff, don't really care. Kojak, all of it works. I'm not really picky there. I'm a garbage disposal. I was fat for a living for a while. But I would say I would say bacon for sure. Ketchup, mustard. If you got like Thousand Island dressing or something too, sometimes it's fun to mix in. But really, I don't require a lot. I would say the base of it would just be cheese, ketchup, and mustard, and maybe throw a little bacon on there. Some lettuce for texture. I don't really like lettuce, but it feels aesthetically pleasing.
See, that was my burger bar, Mike, and you're throwing it. That he would be perfect at my burger bar party.
What's the dispute here?
That you should have more for more people.
Oh, you're saying
like I asked you that specific question, but when I asked him a burger bar, he just was like, cheese and meat and ketchup. And I'm like, what about other people? Like, it's a burger bar. You ever been to Fuddruckers?
Oh,
yeah, like they have a burger bar.
I've been to Fuddruckers. I have annihilated Fuddruckers in the Detroit airport. It's like right by the gate that goes usually when the connection was going to South Bend, and that Fuddruckers, I used to wear that thing out. They had good fries there too.
Yeah.
But no,
Do you think it'll have a different name in 500 years?
I think so.
Okay.
I think we're going to be dealing with a lot of different things in 500 years. Hopefully the airport.
We're not going to be dealing with any of that.
That's true.
Hey, listen, we could by then. I keep seeing the thing on like Instagram that says the pill to make your dog live forever is coming soon, and I'm like, please.
Did you say your dog?
Your dog.
Okay.
Like, forget us. I'm cool dying at some point.
Yeah.
But I'd like to keep my dog around a lot longer. My dog didn't do anything wrong. My dog's awesome.
True.
So
you want dogs to live as long as humans?
Yeah, I think that'd be dope. You just meet your dog when you're a little kid, and you guys go through life together.
It forever?
That
would be nice.
Incredible. Cool. Like the fact that like we have to watch them go before us. No, that's messed up. Dogs should get to live a lot longer. They've done a lot more for all of us than we'll ever do for them. I mean, the shelter and food thing's pretty cool, but outside of that, like them having to deal with like the burden of our emotional health, that's a tall ask.
Oh my
for those
God,
guys.
that's so true. Now our video coordinator here.
Been waiting for this.
Is this accurate? These are your favorite candy?
These are my favorite M&M varietals. So peanut butter M&Ms to me are the top tier of the brand.
Okay.
What peanut butter, right?
Peanut butter, yeah. The peanut M&Ms right below that.
Okay.
Because as I've often said, my favorite descriptor for food is it's got ass to it. Like this is a little meal right here. This is like when people go to space and they have the freeze dried stuff.
Yeah.
Like you eat this, you're gonna walk away going, all right, I don't have to eat for a little while.
How many miles of candy then until you get to the regular M&Ms? Because
I'm with you.
What are those for now?
You know what? I think the regular M&Ms are really good as like a shooter around Halloween because the Halloween bag's like that big.
Yeah.
So if you're walking around on Halloween night and like I'm in the business,
that's your base.
Well, I'm handing out candy at the front door now a lot more often. Like my friends have kids, and so I like to go and do that. And I hand out the candy at the door, and I get a little buzz. But I'm sitting there and I'm reaching in the bag. I'll pull one of those out, and you just hit the whole handful at once. It's like remember the M&M's minis that came in the tube?
Yes.
And you could just rifle all those at once. In total, it's like the way the Rams replaced Aaron Donald in the aggregate this year.
Yeah.
You are creating the M&M in the aggregate with all of those
by
that makes
committee.
the experience better. It's an M&M by committee.
The M&M though is very good for M&M cookies.
And that's weird.
That's true.
The M&M cookie with just the regular M&M, top notch. Just M&Ms by themselves.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
You're right, because you know what? It's an accent, but it's not a star. It's
Agreed.
a garnish, but it's not a main course.
Do you have such a thing as a favorite candy, or do you like this category is my favorite candy, this category is my favorite? Like, how do you break that down?
I think I usually take them into like their verticals, like candy bars, candy like this. You've got the like fruity or like savory, like the tart candy kind of thing. So I like to put them in their own range, and then obviously certain desserts into different category. Picking just one overall is just way too difficult. There's too many good sugars.
I think there's a good way to do it though.
What's that?
Candy combine. We need to have a candy combine and really load this thing up.
Yeah, that's probably the right way to do this. Like we've been dancing around the issue for long enough. It's time to. I know this is sports. We're here to crown champions, not just give everyone a participation trophy. We
Chocolates,
need to do that with candy.
Hard candies, soft
Each
candies.
one of them gets a day.
Like Sour Patch Kids.
I would say non-chocolate candies might be their own category.
That's the toughest part is if you're building out a bracket for this is how you stratify all that.
Mike and Ike's.
And where do Twizzlers go?
Yeah, exactly. No, love a good Twizzler.
I don't like Twizzler at all.
Oh, do you
really?
like use it as a straw for your Coke or something?
I don't know. It tastes too waxy to me.
Ooh.
Would you have a candy like that you're like, I'm out on this candy for sure?
A bit of honey.
Man.
Oh
Sorry,
man,
that's always a
bit
shot.
of honey.
What's the old? Is it Payday that's got coconut in it? Which one has coconut
Almond
in
Joy.
it?
Almond Joy.
I'm not a huge Almond Joy guy. Like in general, almonds just okay for me.
Okay.
And in candy, it's a little bit too abrasive of a nut. Like you go peanut. If there was a candy bar that had cashews in it, I rock with cashews heavily.
Cashews they're the best.
There's a
They're
good
the best
soft
one.
nut with a lot of flavor, but peanut, it's the perfect nut for a candy bar. Almond, to me, it's too abrasive. It's too grating.
Yeah, it's a little bit of work to chew through that thing.
It is. Although I've seen, is it Snickers that did a Snickers? I don't know if you guys are pecan or pecan people, but they do a Snickers pecan now.
Yeah.
That I missed out on.
It's good.
I just saw that
Yeah.
commercial
It's fantastic.
yesterday.
I've heard great things. I was stuck in the Atlanta airport overnight after Notre Dame lost in the national title, and someone tried to send me on a message. Yeah, it's listen, we've all suffered a loss recently.
I mean, look, you're talking to Dallas. We get it.
Yeah, we lost Luka.
I get it. Yeah,
We won the World Series.
I know we can talk sports all day, but
Sure.
I've also been following your Twitter, and Grater's Skyline Chili
Say what?
ice cream sounds like the worst.
Oh, yeah.
That's you guys. Did he zag when everyone else thought he was going to zig at the end of that?
It sounded like when I saw it, I was like, "There's no way." Because when Cincinnati Cincinnati went to the Super Bowl, one of our listeners was a big-time Bengals fan.
Sure.
He brought us some Skyline Chili, and I was like, all right, I'm doing it. I'm making the pasta. I'm going to try and do this at home. And I was like, that is not what I expected, the current flavor and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
How did they make it good ice cream?
So cinnamon is one of the primary spices in Skyline Chili. I don't know if everyone outside of the Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky area knows that, but cinnamon is a strong part of that flavor profile. So they leaned into that. The way I've described it is in terms of making it a Skyline Chili collab, the oyster crackers in there do a lot of the heavy lifting. It's really like Cinnamon Toast Crunch Milk in ice cream form.
Okay.
Ooh. So they leaned into that side of it. It is delicious. I'm not kidding you. They sent me, the Graders people are phenomenal. Ohana means family. They are my Ohana. They sent me like 6 pints. 3 of them were those. I nuked those 3 in like 2 days.
Worse than the Fuddruckers?
Yeah, worse than the Fuddruckers. These stood no chance. It was all I could think about while it was in the house. I might be an addict.
Okay.
I'm telling you, I was watching Twitter, and it was like every 10 minutes, he was like, it's just getting better. It was like
truly, like every bite, I'm like, oh, yeah, it's really settling into itself. So if you're out there, I understand the shock value. That's what they were going for. Sex sells.
You described it like a TV series. You're like, man, by the second pint, they really got their feet under them.
I know. It's like when people talk about Breaking Bad. It's like, just make it to season 2 and it's going to be great.
Yeah.
Like, they're hour-plus episodes each. It's a tall order.
That pilot episode, nobody really knew what to expect there.
No,
well, you like the Fly episode.
I did love the Fly episode. I really did. Nobody else did.
It's a good one. No series ever finished as strong.
I guess our point to all of this is, who are you picking in the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
I'm sure is what that led all up to.
No, God bless the broken, delicious road that led us to this question. I'm picking Kansas City. Like I coming off conference championship weekend, that last bit of information we were going to get to take in before 2 weeks where we overcooked the hell out of this. I told myself, all right, based on what I have seen, especially from the Chiefs, really the last 4 to 5 games when they, and I say all along, they get to operate like a veteran NBA team, where the regular season only matters so much in a sport where, hey, football, the games are more precious and more scarce, each one more valuable when it comes to making the playoffs. The Chiefs' bedrock of success, especially in a world where they don't need to win at home anymore, like they prove they can go on the road and do it, I'm like, they can afford to tinker during the season. That's why they didn't feed Travis early on until the injuries mounted up, and that's why they move guys around and try a bunch of different things, even if it doesn't work in certain situations, so that when they get to this time of year, they know who they are. No team has a better understanding of their identity and is able to fit that to the situation better than Kansas City. And I feel like the last 4 or 5 games, I've just watched them every time come up with what they need in that moment. Joe Tooney and the move he made from guard to tackle, my favorite storyline in the Super Bowl. Like, you can't give that guy enough credit for going out and operating in that kind of space in these kind of circumstances against some of the defenses he's seen. Myles Garrett, the edge duo from Houston, all this stuff. So I think they are too good at managing situations and finding ways to win. So I went Kansas City. I think it's close. I think I Kansas City in the over, so I said like 27-25.
Okay.
As just like a marker of what I think. It's going to be close. This Philly roster's stacked, but Kansas City just knows what they're doing.
Man, I like that. You played it close to the over/under and right on the edge of the point spread. That's,
Listen, I work for a gambling company right now. no big deal. Kind of a big deal.
That's very savvy right there.
Print out every day then? Like, you have
we get the emails every day. It's like, hey, here's where, some of the betting totals are going. I check it every once in a while, really just go in. More of a vibes guy, but...
Hey, guys, here's what I'm feeling for today's show.
These are the gut bets.
I like
Mike's gut.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, man. That was awesome.
Thank you, guys.
I'm going to warn you, this is a weird transition because we don't actually go to break here.
Hell yeah.
We just keep talking.
Oh, I just did that in a live stream down there for hours. It's trying to get Jameis Winston offset in that pink cardigan and explain that on the fly. Not great. So I can just get up and spike the headset. Make it easier.
You should.
Spike it.
Hold on. Let me. There you go. Now you can go ahead. Now you can go ahead and spike it. Thank you very much, good sir. Really appreciate it.